Good day once again. I am Alma Rodrigo, your reporter. This time we will be going to discuss about aquaculture. Though it is somewhat related to our previous lesson, the aqua farming, yet we have to tackle it and learn more with this. What is aquaculture? According to National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in the U.S., there are two types of aquaculture, the marine and freshwater. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration efforts primarily focus on marine aquaculture, which refers to farming species that live in the ocean and estuaries. In the U.S., marine aquaculture produces numerous species including oysters, clams, mussels, shrimp, seaweeds, and fish such as salmon, black sea bass, sablefish, yellowtail, and pompano. There are many ways to farm marine shellfish, including seeding small shellfish on the seafloor or by growing them in bottom or floating cages. Marine fish farming is typically done in net pens in the water or in tank on land, while U.S. freshwater aquaculture produces species such as catfish and trout. Freshwater aquaculture primarily takes place in ponds or other man-made systems. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is committed to supporting an aquaculture industry that is economically, environmentally, and socially sustainable. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration experts and partners work to understand the environmental effects of aquaculture in different settings and provide best management practices to help reduce the risk of negative impacts. How does aquaculture work? The methods of aquaculture's farm-to-table process can differ from species to species. Generally, there are 4 stages of the production chain. Each of these stages can vary with respect to its effects on the environment and the quality and safety of the seafood they produce, which is why the Global Aquaculture Alliance administers the Best Aquaculture Practices or the BAP Third-Party Certification Program. BAP seeks to improve the fish farming industry across the globe. This is the only certification program that covers every step of the supply chain. The first stage in the aquaculture production chain is the hatchery. This is where the breeding of fish, hatching of eggs, and rearing of fish through the early life stages happens. Once the animals are mature enough, they are transferred to the farm, where they are grown to harvest size using feed produced at feed mills. The fish are then transported to a processing facility where they are packaged and sent to food retailers and grocery stores. That's where you come in. So now, let us discuss the kinds of aquaculture. Particular kinds of aquaculture include fish farming, shrimp farming, oyster farming, mariculture, alga culture, and the cultivation of ornamental fish. Fish farming. Fish farming involves raising fish commercially in tanks or enclosures such as fish ponds, usually for food. It is the principal form of aquaculture, while the other methods may fall under mariculture. A facility that releases juvenile fish into the wild for recreational fishing or to supplement a species' natural numbers is generally referred to as fish hatchery. Worldwide, the most important fish species produced in fish farming are carp, tilapia, salmon, and catfish. Next is shrimp farming. Shrimp farming is an aquaculture business that exists in either a marine or freshwater environment, producing shrimp or prawns for human consumption. Oyster farming. Oyster farming is an aquaculture or mariculture practice in which oysters are bred and raised mainly for their pearls, shells, and inner organ tissue which is eaten. Oyster farming was practiced by the ancient Romans and later in Britain for export to Rome. The French oyster industry has relied on aquacultured oysters since the late 18th century. While mariculture is a specialized branch of aquaculture involving the cultivation of marine organisms for food and other products in the open ocean and in closed section of the ocean or in tanks, ponds, or raceways which are filled with sea water. An example of the latter is the farming of marine fish, including finfish and shellfish like prawns, or oysters and seaweed in saltwater ponds. Alga culture. Alga culture is a form of aquaculture involving the farming of species of algae. The majority of algae that are intentionally cultivated fall into the category of microalgae. Macroalgae, commonly known as seaweed, also have many commercial and industrial uses, but due to their size and the specific requirements of the environment in which they need to grow, they do not lend themselves as readily to cultivation. And we have List of aquarium life. List of aquarium life include list of fish, amphibians, invertebrates, and plants in freshwater, brackish, and marine aquariums. In fish keeping, suitable species of aquarium fish, plants, and other organisms vary with the size, water chemistry, and temperature of the aquarium. Methods of aquaculture. Particular methods include aquaponics and integrated multi-trophic aquaculture, both of which integrate fish farming and aquatic plant farming. Aquaponics refers to any system that combines conventional aquaculture with hydroponics in a symbiotic environment. In normal aquaculture, excretion from the animals being raised can accumulate in the water, increasing toxicity. In an aquaponic system, water from an aquaculture system is fed to a hydroponic system where the byproducts are broken down by nitrifying bacteria initially into nitrates and subsequently into nitrates that are utilized by the plants as nutrients. Then, the water is recirculated back to the aquaculture system. Integrated multi-trophic aquaculture provides the byproducts, including waste, from one aquatic species as inputs for another. Farmers combine feed aquaculture with inorganic extractive and organic extractive aquaculture to create balanced systems for environment remediation, economic stability, and social acceptability. Species groups selected for aquaculture. Next is the main types of aquaculture. Aquaculture activities can be classified according to their degree of intensity. It could be intensive, semi-intensive, and extensive. In intensive production, involves the high-density culture of organisms and regular and nutritionally complete feeding, while in semi-intensive systems involve lower densities with the enhancement of naturally occurring feed and some direct feeding. On the other hand, extensive aquaculture involves a low density of organisms, sometimes with the enhancement of naturally occurring feed. Farming soars as wild catches stall. With demand rising and many marine fish stocks already overfished, nearly half of all seafood now comes from aquaculture, which has grown at a double-digit clip for decades. Most of the growth is in Asia, home to 90% of fish farms. China, the world leader, imports additional fish to make fish oil, fish food, and other products. The importance of aquaculture. Faced with a rapidly increasing world population, scientists, farmers, and policymakers are seeking ways to meet future food demand. Interest in aquaculture production is on the rise because wild harvest of many seafood species is currently at or above maximum sustainable levels. Advancing the development of aquaculture presents one viable solution to this challenge, offering a wide range of benefits including meeting growing food needs, providing consumers with high nutritional content, reducing waste because feed efficiency of fish and shellfish is better than any other animal, integrating aquatic farms into the environment without harmful effects, utilizing our nation's agricultural and natural resources for food production, and ecological benefits. Shellfish beds or cages can provide habitat structure. This structure can be used as shelter by invertebrates, small fish, or crustaceans to potentially increase their abundance and maintain biodiversity. Impacts on wild fish. Farming of carnivorous species like salmon and shrimp leads to a high demand for foraged fish to match the nutrition they get in the wild. Coastal ecosystems. Aquaculture is becoming a significant threat to coastal ecosystems. Like about 20% of mangrove forests have been destroyed since 1980, partly due to shrimp farming. Most of these farms are abandoned within a decade because of the toxin buildup and nutrient loss. Pollution from sea cage aquaculture. Example are salmon farms. A farm with 200,000 salmon discharges more fissile waste than a city of 600 people. Freshwater ecosystems, like dissolved oxygen, were observed in the whole lake carried out of an experimental rainbow trout cage. Annual phosphorus inputs from aquaculture waste exceeded that of natural inputs from atmospheric deposition and inflows, and phytoplankton biomass had a fourfold annual increase following the initiation of the experimental farm. And genetic modification. A type of salmon called the Aqua Advantage salmon has been genetically modified for faster growth, although it has not been approved for commercial use due to controversy. The present situation of world aquaculture.